One of the things that I wanted to go over was, why didn't I make this bike a speed demon? Why did I go the route that I did? I'm sure there's a lot of people yelling at their TVs, why didn't you put a 72 volt system in this and a 5,000 watt motor in the front? I could have done that. I had the money to do that, but I wanted my bicycle to be legal in Canada. It was very important that if I got pulled over by the police, that my bicycle not get confiscated or seized in any way. So I wanted to make sure that I was not going faster than traffic. I just took it out and tested it, and it works beautiful in that regard. Traffic is still flowing ahead of me, but I have a lot more low-end torque, and given my size and my weight, obviously, that's what I was after with the second motor. It wasn't for speed to begin with. So I made sure that my bicycle would be legal for you know, police inspection and things like that. That was very important to me for several reasons. But the other thing too is that these helmets are only rated for 20 miles an hour, okay? So if you're going over that speed, the helmet's not rated for that. And that's why you see a lot of guys that have the 72 volt system wear motorcycle or DOT approved helmets. So if I was a cop and I seen a guy wearing a motorcycle helmet on a bicycle, I'm going to probably be very suspicious about how fast that bicycle goes. I might want to check that one out. And a lot of people with Surons and things like that saying they're being harassed by cops. Listen, you're going faster than you're supposed to be going. That's what the rule said. That's what the law said. So, you know, you can't whine about it just because you went out and bought something. You can go buy something really fast. It doesn't mean you're allowed to drive it on the roads. You know, bicycles don't have vehicle identification numbers, and therefore they don't fall under the same rules and regulations. So that's why they set it at 20 miles an hour. And the main reason why they set it 20 miles an hour is because bicycle helmets are only rated for 20 miles an hour. It kind of makes sense, right? So, you know, they don't want people going faster than that. The other reason is the tires. I'm going to pan out just to zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so the tires down here, right there, are only rated for certain speeds as well. They're bicycle tires. They're not motorcycle tires, okay? So you're not, you don't have the same level of compounds and steel belts and things that motorcycle. My friend has a motorcycle. He paid $500 for 2 tires for his motorcycle, okay? So think about that. Bicycle tires are usually $70, $80. They're not going to give you the same protection as a motorcycle tire is. You start doing excessive speeds on those, they're not rated for that. They could fly apart on you and you could easily get yourself killed. So all of those guys out there with 72 volt systems and they're doing 40 miles an hour, you know, they might want to caution themselves on that, because they could easily become a fatality. Those tires on those bikes are not rated for that. There is a company called V Tire. I believe they're one of the few bicycle tire manufacturers that are kind of putting semi or quasi motorcycle tires for bicycles. They are heavier, and that's the other thing about motorcycle tires, is they're heavier than bicycle tires, because, you know, bicycles are more about weight reduction, and motorcycles, it doesn't matter because you have the horsepower to move the tires. So the V tire has kind of found a middle of the road. They call them the V50, which probably means they can do 50 miles an hour, or they're speed rated for that. Or they're speed rated maybe for 50 kilometers an hour. They don't really say, that's the thing, right? But they are quite a bit more expensive than $79 or $80. They're $300. So these are things to consider. And now the other thing that I did was, I am not anti non-e-bike. So I also have this bicycle. Okay, so this bicycle here, and I will zoom out a bit so you can see it a little better. Okay, so I bought this bicycle at Costco. This is just going to be a bike that I ride back and forth to work because it is much lighter. It's not 110 pounds like this one. It's only 20 some pounds. As a matter of fact, if you're in the market for a really good frame mountain bike, this is the one you probably want to look at, because I believe the frames are rumored to be made by Giant, which is an excellent bicycle company. The frame alone is probably worth more than they're selling the whole bicycle for. So I got this one clipped with blinkers, light, and all the other good jazz too. This is the one I'll be taking to my place of work. You know, if it gets stolen or whatever, I'm not going to shed the amount of tears that I would if I brought this one. So why do I have two? Well, there are bicycle paths, believe it or not, that do not want e-bikes. So if I want to use any of those bicycle paths, I need to bring this bicycle. This one, however, is a good cruiser. It can, you know, if I'm going long distances, this is the one I want to take, you know, and I don't want to kill myself getting there, or, you know, and I just want to enjoy the scenery. This is the bike you want to do it. It's nice and comfortable. I can't believe how comfortable it is now. It is just extremely comfortable. And this one isn't bad, but it is definitely got how you have to live with a smaller seat, of course, because of the weight factor and things of that nature. So I've got 21 speeds, and yes, I have tackled the big hills. And by the way, I can go just as fast, if not faster, on this bicycle as I can on this one, as long as I'm on a level ground or going down a hill. Going up a hill, different story. This one obviously is going to be the winner, but I'm a pretty strong person, so you know, this is not an issue as far as this. This also has the 29-inch tires. See the tire difference between here and here? These take 65 psi. These, I believe, are about 30. So yeah, I definitely I love both these bikes, to be honest. If I just want to grab something really fast and go someplace, this is going to be my go-to bike, because it's just a short trip. Why would I lug this 100-pound beast you know, down the stairs and in elevators and stuff, when I can just grab this one and it would take me like 5-6 minutes, you know. This is a 15-minute kind of a setup system. Now, if I had a house with a garage and stuff and I could just pop open the door and go, maybe I'd be liable to keep this one anyway. But I also like the fact that, you know, this one doesn't have to be recharged and stuff. We had a power outage, and guess what? I'm glad that I had this one. I just got it, and I was like, wow, that was such a good move on my part. Because let's face it, sometimes if you don't have any power and you can't recharge your other bike, then you got a backup. So I am not anti-regular bicycle. This is my proof. I like all bicycles, and I think that you pick the bike for the occasion. And I also have recently purchased a skateboard, because when I was young I used to do a lot of skateboarding, and that was one of the things that I also enjoyed doing. So whatever mode of transportation, because for me, when I'm talking about micro mobility, and I've talked about this in the past, is that you need to give yourself options. Okay, so you give yourself options when it comes to micro mobility, and micro mobility has to be convenient. You need to be able to you know, want to be able to use it, you know. So, you know, like if I was just going really super close but I didn't feel like walking, I would grab the longboard. And because skateboards are anywhere from 2 to 4 times faster than walking. Bicycles, regular bicycles, are about 5 times to 6 times faster than walking, and e-bikes are only 2 to 3 minutes slower than most cars can get to a destination. So I know that sounds incredible, but because cars have to stop at the stoplights, even though they can go faster, they still get stuck on the same lights as everybody else, and that tends to, you know, the flow of traffic is the flow of traffic, and bicycles can maneuver a lot more easily through those situations as well. So I personally, I don't like going between cars and things like that. I find it to be very dangerous if the car was to move erratically. But I do have noticed that a lot of people on bicycles do these things, and they can quite often get places faster than they could if they were to take a vehicle. So for me, that's why micromobility makes sense. So I didn't get an electric skateboard, and I didn't get another, you know, a smaller electric bike, because electric skateboards, for instance, are against the law in Montreal. They've made them illegal. So why would I buy something that is no longer legal? I could have got an electric stand-up scooter, but those are also illegal. As a matter of fact, it's not illegal to sell them, it's illegal to drive them on the roads. The reason why they can sell them is that if you have a private property, let's say a farm or a large piece of land, you can drive whatever you want on there, you know, so that's why they're allowed to sell them. And they don't seem to tell people, oh yeah, by the way, don't play with this on the sidewalk or the streets. So, and people do. Hoverboards, same thing. Knocking over pedestrians, scaring pedestrians, that sort of thing. And on a final note, you know, even if you're on a bicycle that doesn't have a motor, you can get a speeding ticket. If you're over the speed limit, you're over the speed limit. So I know that sounds hard to believe. I don't know if it's ever been enforced, but you can get a speeding ticket if you are going over the speed, even on a mechanical, purely mechanical bicycle. I'm curious if it's ever happened to anybody. If it's ever happened to you, please, you know, leave me a thing in the comment. So anyways, that's what I've got so far, and yeah, there's going to be a little bit more adjusting, but so far I think it looks really good. I think it turned out, I'm very happy with the way it turned out. It took a lot to get the front end nice and tight the way I wanted it, because this front end wasn't really designed for this type of bike. But if you look at a bicycle called the Side Rusher, the Side Rusher is got a double crown front suspension, but there's a difference, is that this is an air suspension where I can add air to it, and the Side Rusher is a hydraulic suspension. So you've got your adjustments here, but you don't really have, you know, it's got a lot of travel. This provides a lot more you know, resistance, and it also has rebound adjustments. So instead of the shock just jarring back, it comes back at a slower rate. I can adjust that on here. Now, one thing I would like to point out is the front forks that I've got on here are not super expensive downhill forks. I just want to, you know, make that very clear. If you were to put these on a mountain bike and go down a hill with some very aggressive bumps and jumps and things like that, you're probably going to kill yourself. They even put a warning label on these. But they are perfect for what I'm using them for, which is just cruising around the street. I'm not going down any treacherous jumps or anything. If I did hit a bad pothole and something happened, I'd be able to pull over and, you know, fix it, or you know, get my bike home and do the repairs. So, but you would not take this type of fork system down that hill. RockShox and other companies do make forks, but they're like $1,000, and I don't need to put $1,000 set of front forks on my e-bike. I did have to make some modifications to them down where the motor was, because they weren't designed to be mated with a motor. So there was a little bit of machining that needed to be done. I do know how to do that, and I had a friend help me with that because it was a lot of work. I do like the fact that the spokes are very short, front spokes, so they're not going to go out of alignment very easily. They were loose when I got the motor, so keep that in mind too. I do know how to true a wheel. I have the equipment. One of the things that did cost me quite a bit of money was buying the proper tools. I did use a proper torque wrench, so everything is torqued to specifications, and that doesn't mean that it's never going to fall apart. It just means it's torqued to specifications. So so some bolts are torqued to, you know, 6 pounds, some are 9 pounds, some are 20 pounds, you know, but they're all torqued to the proper spec. And I went over it just before I took it out for this drive. So hope you enjoy the video. I hope it turned out good, and I will see you on the next video. And I do apologize for not posting anything else, but if there wasn't anything interesting, I just didn't see the point. I didn't see any point in doing the unboxing of all the parts. It was just quite a mess. I had everything kind of came in at once, and but I did have a shot of some of the wiring and what's involved. The controller for this motor here, by the way, is a 30 amp controller, so that's pretty decent. And I like that. I could have shunted it easily to higher than that if I wanted to. So if I wanted to get even more torque, I guess, out of it, I could shunt it. I made sure that my wiring was proper gauge wiring. So I tried to match the wires as closely as I could when doing my wiring and cable routing. That was very important to me. I also got a temperature gauge to do the temperature. Now I didn't need it for this ride because it's like 10 degrees out. It's not gonna, you know, the cool air is, you know, in the summertime when it's really hot, that's when I'll get that out and just make sure my battery isn't getting too hot and things like that. So anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy the ride. I did try to recalibrate the GPS on the GoPro so that we can see what the estimated speed is. Now keep in mind, GPS on GoPro sometimes can be a little wonky, so take it with a grain of salt. But you know, and in some of the higher speeds, of course, that is going downhill. I want to make that clear. Level ground, still legal. Downhill, of course, the motors are going to get you going a little bit quicker, and the law says that you cannot go over 20 miles an hour on level ground. So and that is the Canadian law, and I wanted to make sure that I was obeying that law. Downhill, of course you can go over that, but you cannot go over 50 kilometers an hour, which I also did not do. Excuse me. So guess I'm talking too long. Anyways, take care, be safe at work, and again, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And this is the only one of these that I know of in existence. And I do think it turned out absolutely beautiful. It is exactly what I wanted it to be. You know, it's got the BMX bars, you know, I've got the good grips, you know, lots of carbon fiber. I did put another brake rotor on there, did my brakes over completely. I will do them every year. That is not a question of that. So anyways, see you later. Bye. Okay, we are outside now, ready to do a filming. Beautiful day today. Power has been out in my building for like 2 days in Montreal. So I was unable to take it out just because I couldn't charge it, which is why I have another bicycle, just in case. Alright, so this is what she looks like outside, and we'll get started. heavy. Alright, change a few things. I'm going to just take it around the neighborhood to make sure that everything is in fact good. Redid the brakes, new mirrors, but in general, need to get a feel for it. Okay, so oh, one thing I need to do, I forgot, is my socket. There. Very heavy bicycle. Okay. Let's see what she feels like. Oh, hang on. Okay. I'll just take her around the neighborhood a bit, using a little bit of both front and back. Get a little bit of sag, and make sure phone's in there. May take off the front fender because it tends to interfere a bit. Let these guys go. Get going, buddy. Pull over again. I want to adjust my mirrors. There. Make sure that we're good. Must be some branches falling down in there. A little cool, but it's actually quite nice. Quite nice. rattles a bit. I don't know if I like the sound of that. I might just take off that front fender. On the back. Adjusting my fender, making sure it doesn't come close. Definitely like the way the front motor helps. Oh, steering a little bit on the heavy side though. Got to be very careful of that. So before it gets too crazy, I'm going to go around and the harsh bumps I worry about.
Look at all the damage. This is from the ice storm that we had. Knocked down all our power lines. I put a tire pressure monitoring system on the bike so that if I ran over any thorns or anything, I could get home. Shock absorbers are definitely working. I'm not feeling the harshness that I used to feel, but I wonder if they're damping enough any sharp bumps, so I don't like the sound of that fender hitting the top. I don't like that at all. But I don't think it does anything too severe. I'm just gonna make sure that it's tight and it doesn't come loose. Yeah, it's just tapping. Yeah, just tapping, but I might remove that. Make sure. Put some gloves on. Oh yeah, this is definitely sketchy. But I'm gonna do the hill test. Gonna do the hill test. Hit the alarm by accident. Got 2 alarms on this thing. Built into my turn signals. Bumped it by accident. Definitely got more power. Avoid these bumps up here. Oh yeah. The bumps are pretty severe. Might have to do something about that tapping. Don't like that too much. Might just go up and then go back again. Tire pressure is still pretty good though. Yeah, might snug those up a bit. Maiden voyage is a little scary. However, everything still feels tight, which is good. Still feels tight. Let's see how good we go down here. Alright, we are at, I think we've gone pretty far enough. Turn around and go back the other way. Because this is horrible. I don't want to ride on this. This is nasty. Never been cleaned. I think I'll stick to the roads. So I like to just cruise along with the other bikers. I'll just cruise along with them. Beautiful day out. working. Hope the wind doesn't affect the GoPro audio too much. Sorry, it's the best I can do. So far, I'm loving it. £23. Yeah, time to go home. Slow leak maybe in the front. 28 in the back. Back's doing good. Oh, not doing too good. Only used maybe a quarter of that. Doesn't look like I used hardly anything. I'm still saying full, but I don't know how accurate that one is. So I think all in all it was a pretty good trip out. Going to have to deal with front tire in a bit. Oh, this is the part that's the tough part. I'll go this way. Now the one thing I like about that brick is what it does with my kickstand. It looks like that's what I need for home. Okay. Off come the gloves. Power the system off. There we go. I always let my bikes cool down for like an hour or two before I recharge them. There's the wrench. Yeah, the mirrors work pretty good actually. Got a little bit of a puddle, not too bad. Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is my tire pressure on my front, which was 23, which isn't horrible, like it's livable, but still, it's down a little bit, so.